Welcome to this very special edition of the KJ Masterclass Live, the show which ensures that you profit from your time spent here with experts, either through the industry insights, information, or simply learning from them. And today we have Alex Love. She is a Vice President of Marketing and Communications at Riva Solutions. Welcome to the show, Alex.
Thanks so much for having me.
You are welcome to the show, Alex. You are welcome to India in this online form. And I'm sure not just in India, but a lot of people across the globe will benefit from what we are talking right now. We'll be talking about marketing strategies for small business success. But my first question is to understand, Alex, about your journey from being, now you are an entrepreneur at heart. You started, with a lot of other things, and right now you are the Vice President of Marketing and Communications. So your journeys can sometimes be the message in themselves. So help us with your journey so that we can get the right sort of learning through your journey.
Yeah, absolutely. So I graduated college without sort of a direction. I thought I wanted to go into US politics. I quickly learned I did not like politics, but it did bring me to the Washington, D.C. area. And so when I got here, I sort of floundered a little bit and said, what do I do next? I got a job in the nonprofit sector, writing grant applications. And something that was coming up at the time was social media was really gaining a lot of traction. And I personally used it a lot. I started to integrate it into the strategies that the nonprofit was using to be able to reach more users, get more donors. And after the 2 years that I spent at the nonprofit, I decided I no longer want to write grant applications. That's kind of boring. There's something here to this social media trend. And so that's sort of where I dug my foot into marketing and said, let me try this out. And so through that, I started an organization called Digital District. We started to really educate people on how to use social media at the time, which was very new, as a part of the digital marketing strategies, and take it out of the framing and reference that this is something that an intern or your youngest staff member should do. It does have some strategies behind it. It does have a place in digital marketing. So that's how I really got my start in marketing. And then went back to get my MBA, was a consultant for a while, stepped out of the marketing field, was doing direct customer work, and now, slowly stepped my toes back into marketing, and now fully baked back into marketing for the past 6 or 7 years, helping small businesses, particularly in the public sector space, grow their footprint and market to the government.
Right, Alex. So as a person who understands social media, the dynamics of social media, how do you see small businesses and the social media in today's time? Is it the best of time for social media for small businesses, or is it a tough moment for them because there is so much to choose, but then there is so much of noise at the same time?
Yeah, I think it's definitely tougher than it was 10 or 15 years ago, when you had a lot less choices, as you said, a lot less noise, and a lot more authenticity on these channels. Today, I think small businesses can get confused. They try to do too many channels. I have to keep up with the coolest thing, and maybe my business needs to learn a TikTok dance, right? If that's not authentic to your business or to your audience, then you're wasting a lot of valuable time that small business owners do not have. So I think it is really, really tricky these days to make the right decision to find platforms, if any, that benefit you, that benefit your business, market your services, and reach your true core audience.
Right. So what do these, mainly small businesses come to you for? What are their needs, and what are the needs that you as a company solve for them?
Yeah. So right now, I'm working in a slightly different space. So our customers right now are the U.S. federal government. So not small businesses; they're huge. We are, in fact, the small business doing the marketing. So on the government side, they're really trying to modernize their IT systems. So take them off legacy systems, move them into the cloud, make sure that the U.S. citizen is having good experiences when they're interacting with the government to get the services that they need. But in terms of small businesses, I'll put myself in my own shoes. So some of the problems that we're trying to solve for ourselves, or maybe some of the competitors and partners in the space. humanizing your brand, I think, is a really, really big one. And this goes not just for us working with the government at Riva, but any small business. People like to do business with humans and other people. And I think a lot of small businesses fall into the trap of building a very large brand, very fancy graphics, a lot of things about the company, but fail to put the humans who are doing the work forward. And that's really what gains attraction, especially if you're in the services industry. People want to work with people they like and people they trust. So being able to make sure that the brand that you're building is authentic, it does have human elements, I think is a really big, it's hard. It's very, very hard to do in both the product and the services market.
Right, right, Alex. So you talked about humanizing as well as, so how do you do that in today's time, especially if you are a small business and competing with a bigger business? Because they are using their resources, they are using bots, and they are also using humans in whatever form they can. But the small business does not have these things, but they have to compete for, for the same sort of people. So how does it work? How do they humanize in a time when bots are taking over everything? Help us
Yeah.
understand, help us understand this part.
I think, the rise of AI as a marketer is very helpful. And I will say I do use services like ChatGPT every day because it does allow me to cut out some of the manual processes, generate ideas faster, work from first drafts. I think where people get stuck and where the caveat is that people don't realize the content that comes out of these services is average at best. It is not custom to your business. It is not your voice. It's not targeted to your audience, no matter how many prompts you put into it. So it does need a lot of rework, and it does still need a human element to go in and say, oh, that's a cool idea, or maybe that title needs some tweaks, or that's a great outline. Let me work from there. So as a small business owner, I do think finding the right AI tools will help you save time if you know how to use them properly. But just don't fall into the trap of taking whatever prompt spits out and posting that, right? Because you probably won't get the results that you want. But in terms of humanizing your brand, I think you really need to be laser focused on a couple of channels. Maybe you start with one or two where you either feel comfortable as an entrepreneur and you already sort of know how to use, or it's somewhere where your core audience hangs out a lot and you're willing to learn that platform. Start small, start with your niche. A lot of entrepreneurs have a passion for their audience and for their business. So that should come through pretty quickly. Again, if you've established that passion and that connection with your audience, just start to talk about things that matter. Put yourself out there, put your face out there. If you've taken the risk already to be an entrepreneur, put your personal story out there. Make sure people connect with you, know who you are. It's first really small steps. Share your passion, share your mission, and you will start to attract the right audience on the platforms that you suggest.
Right, right, Alex. Now, a lot of small businesses are online. That's where they find their customers from. That's where they look to expand because it does not need so much of cost in terms of, overheads and all. So, online, but the big problem is the lead generation. People talk about it. There are thousands of, options there for lead generation, but how actually it converts on the ground, it's still a question. So how do they do that? What does your expertise say? Marketing is a part of that. It's a part of marketing. So how what is your suggestion? Some of the points you can share for the audience. How can small businesses tighten their, lead generation capabilities?
Yeah. So I'm actually in an industry right now where we don't do lead gen, which is actually a really fun space to be as a marketer because that is, as you said, such a focus in a lot of sectors. We can't track a lot of data related to the US government and the customers that we have. So we do a different type of lead generation in the B2G space, which is a lot more relationship based and in person. While I still write the white papers and the thought leadership pieces and send out the content as you typically would with a marketing funnel, I don't always have the attribution for where those went. So I'm actually sometimes relying on our sales and BD people to physically hand a copy of this white paper or email a copy to the right person, and have them read it and say, great, it got into the right hands. So that's a very unique case here in the B2G space. So not all marketers have that luxury of not being on the hook for generating a lot of leads. But I think in terms of small businesses, again, really focusing down on who your core audience is and what resonates with them, and finding and maybe spending the time on creating one or two really solid content pieces that you have the ability to chop up and use across different streams that has a little bit of longevity. So I think people get really stuck in, I need new content every single day. I need to hit this. I need to put 6 posts up a week. I need a video. I need this. And truly, if you take the time to either write a longer form piece, invest in one video, do an interview series, whatever fits your audience and your marketing, being able to chop that up thoughtfully, you can generate a lot of content from one singular high quality piece that you can reuse for a while. For us, a white paper has 6 to 12 months worth of runway before it needs to be refreshed or rewritten. So just think about how many pieces of content we can churn out of, a 6 or 7 page white paper when we have 7 to 12 months to promote it. So when you have little dollars, resources, limited money, you really want to invest in a couple of high quality content pieces that can get you very, very far. You'll get the best ROI out of that.
Right, right. Small businesses, should they try to do these things themselves? What is your advice? Or say they should outsource it and look for hiring someone, some agency if they can afford it. What is your understanding of this whole thing?
Yeah, it kind of depends on the entrepreneur and who they are. If you enjoy marketing or have a background in communications, writing, any of sort of the core skills that go into marketing, and it's something that you enjoy, then maybe you can take a stab at some of this yourself. There's plenty of online resources and, like I said, AI tools, things like Canva, where you can put together some pretty decent marketing materials on your own if you have the time and passion for it. If that's not your background, if you hate social media or you hate sort of writing and you don't like doing these things, then maybe taking on the marketing piece yourself isn't the best use of your time. So in that aspect, maybe it would be better to invest in, a freelance resource, or someone who can help advise and put some of this content together for you. There are a lot of different tiered options. So you can bring on someone, for a couple of hours just to get you started and help to maintain some of the networks or the marketing pieces that are critical to your business. If you start to see success, get more dollars in the door, then you can entertain, building a larger team or bringing someone on in-house.
Wonderful. Tell us a bit about Riva Solutions, so that people know more about this particular company.
Yeah, absolutely. So Riva Solutions is an IT government contractor. So our main clients are U.S. federal government. So we work mostly on the federal civilian side. So Department of Commerce and Health and Human Services are two of our major agencies. So in the U.S., a lot of our government agencies are on older technology, and they still have a lot of systems and softwares on premises, or maybe individuals doing help desk and call desk. So we know there are better technologies out there in the cloud and things that are a little bit more modern. So we will go in and sort of assess what their mission is, what they're trying to accomplish, and then help them modernize their IT stack, improve their customer experience, and just ensure that the government is continuing to modernize, that the U.S. citizens can have the best experience with the government when they're interacting with their systems and solutions.
Right, right, Alex. Now let's learn a bit about your podcast. You have this mastering the art of failing. Why did you start with this particular aspect rather than you on one side you talk about success, about the other side about failing? I know you mean failing in a very different manner, but I want to understand that directly from you for the audience.
Yeah, absolutely. So failure is a huge part of success, and I think that is sometimes missing from the conversation. Social media, sometimes is very inauthentic. You get the best version, the best day, the best hour of someone's life, And what you don't see is all of the, failures, missteps, trials and errors that happen to get them to that place. And so my former business partner approached me about 6 or 7 months ago after he had his first child while I was 6 months pregnant and said, "Hey, how do you feel about podcasts?" So because we had a business together and went through this, had grand plans, kind of fell apart, had a great time doing it, learned a ton, but didn't end up with the business that we wanted at the end of the day, we thought, why not speak to other entrepreneurs and other industry folks who are willing to share their stories about how their failures in the past has led to their success today. Because there's great lessons to be learned from things that don't work and things that you don't want to repeat. So we've had a really great time talking to a lot of different industry folks across a whole different industries. We've had military, fitness people on, we've had huge entrepreneurs, different sectors come to sort of talk about what their intentions were, sort of where they had to fail, and the different pivot points that they took, and then again ultimately where they are today, which in most cases is a very successful place.
Wonderful. There is much to learn from you, Alex, about marketing, about communication, about several other things. So what is the best way for people who want to learn from you, who want to engage with you professionally?
Yeah, absolutely. So I hang out on LinkedIn a lot. So Alex S. Love, or you can find me on Instagram _AlexLove22.
Wonderful. With this, it's a wrap on this very special edition of the KJ Masterclass Live. Thank you so much indeed for joining us.
Thanks so much for having me.